Have you ever found yourself caught in the endless loop of trying to make everything just right? Do you proudly wear the badge of perfectionism? If so, you're not alone. Many of us fall into the perfectionism trap, thinking it's a mark of excellence, right? And a guarantee of success. But here's a surprising twist. Striving for perfection might actually be holding you back more than you realize. Probably you're asking yourself, how? We'll work on that. So let me welcome you to this video where I'll dive into the world of perfectionism and help you navigate the fine line between striving for excellence, and getting lost in the pursuit of flawlessness. I'll uncover the different shades of perfectionism, understand why it can be more harmful than helpful, and explore practical steps to overcome. But before we dive into today's topic, today's insights, tips, all the fun stuff, I want to share something deeply personal and very important. The foremost source of my guidance and success is God. His wisdom and grace are paramount. And if you haven't already, I encourage you to make God your priority in all you pursue. I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing without God's grace and blessings. And this channel and everything I share stems from my deep faith in Him. God's presence is essential for your personal development and excellence. So I'm acknowledging God in this. And with this felt note, let's move forward with the important details of today's video. So what is perfectionism, you might ask? First off, perfectionism, it is a term you and I hear a lot, right? But what does it really mean? What does it really mean? Essential, perfectionism is when you set impossible high standards for yourself and feel constant pressure to meet them. It's like you're chasing a flawless idea that truthfully doesn't exist. According to Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar, I hope I'm saying it right, in his book, The Pursuit of Perfect, you should know that there are two types of perfectionism: adaptive and maladaptive. As an adaptive perfectionist, you are always looking to improve and feel optimistic about your work or whatever it is you're doing. This is a healthier form, but it is not perfect. On the other hand, if you are a maladaptive perfectionist, you are never satisfied. This means you might feel anxious, fear, failure, or get really angry, upset if things aren't perfect. Why is perfectionism a problem? Perfectionism can wreak havoc on various aspects of your life, such as your general health. Research has shown that perfectionism can lead to serious health issues. Very serious health issues, including eating disorders, depression, migraines, anxiety, and even burnout. It can also affect your energy levels, increase your stress, and strain your relationships. In extreme cases, it might even lead to suicidal thoughts or the attempts. This isn't to scare you, but to highlight how serious it can be. Self-esteem perfectionism can really mess your self-esteem. You might tie your self-worth to it, to your achievements, believing that others only value you based on what you accomplish. But because your standards are so high, You are rarely satisfied with what you achieve. And this can lead you to believe like others think poorly of you, creating a vicious cycle of self-criticism and blame too. You might also struggle with the imposter syndrome, feeling like you're not truly capable, like you can't do it, despite evidence to the contrary. Productivity. Contrary to what you might think, perfectionism can actually hurt your productivity. You might find yourself procrastinating, waiting to start a project until you figure it all out. Like the perfect way to do it, or you might get bogged down in minor details, redoing tasks because they're just not right. Do you relate to this? I've been guilty. I wanted to start this, it took me 2 years. This can waste valuable time and strain your relationship with colleagues or other important people in your life, as it can also slow down, like if it's at work, the team workflow. Creativity, perfectionism can strive your creativity. That's what it can do. If you're always afraid to make mistakes, it's hard to take risks, to try new things. This fear that can prevent you from thinking outside the box and coming up with innovative ideas. Creativity often involves trial and error, and perfectionism can make that process feel risky, like literally you're gonna pass out. Dealing with perfectionism. So what can you do about it? How do you deal with it? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about dealing with perfectionism and how you can work to mitigate its negative effects. How do you work on that? So I'll give you some practical strategies that can help. Stay tuned. Put in the comments if you've tried this before. The first one, challenging your behaviors. Let's start by challenging the behaviors and the beliefs. Think about some of the things you insist must be perfect. Maybe you find yourself checking work multiple times before turning it in, or doing enough makeup and things like that. Creating overly detailed plans before starting a new project, before getting out of the house. Ladies, can you relate to these? Now, next to each behavior, you can write down why you think it needs to be perfect. For instance, you might resist delegating tasks because you don't trust others to do them as well as you do, as well as you would. Or maybe you stay late at work to double check everything when you could be relaxing at home. But you want to stay at work, overdoing the work, checking if you did it right, just because you're afraid of what someone else might say. You're not a failure. And finally, how you might overcome these behaviors or belief. For example, try delegating one of the tasks and reviewing it just once to ensure it's done correctly. Or if you're the makeup perfectionism, how about you walk out like me, where you just do whatever you gotta do, get here, get on a camera and speak. The second one, setting realistic goals. Perfectionists often set the high bar so high that it's nearly impossible to reach. Instead, try setting realistic goals. And if it's impossible with human, it is possible with God. Mark chapter 10 verse 24. So think about your most important things in life and career goals and break them into smaller goals. Manageable steps. Especially with this time and era, life, there's so much overwhelmed, there's so much anxiety. Set realistic goals. Wake up and set realistic goals. Anyway, let's go to the third one. Listening to your emotions. There's a fine line on that. Your emotions can be a great guide. If you're feeling anxious or unhappy about a task or whatever it is, it might be a sign that you are aiming for the impossible. Listen to these feelings and adjust your targets accordingly. Or instead of I'm not saying setting a higher bar is wrong. It is right. But start with what you have. If you have to start with what you have, not what you don't have. And then you forego what you have. Then anxiety kicks in. Then that thing of perfectionism makes you don't get started because you're looking at what you don't have instead of what you have. I hope this makes sense. Let's go to the fourth one. Don't fear mistakes. This is the one thing that makes perfectionism. Mistakes are a natural part of life and learning. They show that you're willing to push yourself and try new things. Embrace mistakes as valuable learning experiences. The next time you make one, actually accept it, own it. You did it, own it. Learn from it and move on. Don't stay there, move on. This mindset can help you grow and improve without fear of failure holding you back and make you be that perfectionism thing. It's a thing. 5, readjust your personal rules. Perfectionism often, live by strict personal rules. These rules might involve checking every time, email multiple times before sending, or keeping your workspace, clean. So I don't know, but I hope you're getting what I'm saying. While it is good to have high standards, I'm not saying it's wrong. These rules needs to be flexible. Identify one rigid rule you live by and reward it to be more forgiving. For example, instead of checking email every time, perhaps you could only double check, or even once, the most important ones. Remember, it is all about progress, not perfection. Progress, not perfection. Challenge your behaviors, set realistic goals, listen to your emotions, and don't fear mistakes. You can also adjust those personal rules. You got this. Setbacks are part of the journey. Instead of seeing them as failures, view them as opportunities to learn and grow. And by focusing on progress, you can maintain a positive outlook and keep moving forward. English is not my first language. I almost said moving. So if you found this tip helpful, don't forget to subscribe, and drop a comment on what you relate with the most or what you're guilty of doing. Let's keep this conversation going. Let it not end here. And I'd love to hear about how you tackle perfectionism. I'd love to hear from you. How do you tackle this perfectionism thing? Do not be afraid of mistakes. We all make mistakes. And those people you are afraid of, what will they say when they see me making mistakes? Because that's what perfectionism is. It comes in as high as how will people view this? What will people say? What will people think? And the question is, who cares what they think? The question is, what are you thinking about whatever it is you're not starting to doing? Or I hope that's an English word. Instead of you just sit there waiting, especially on the perfectionism coming, you're looking for what you don't have because everything has to be perfect. That thing of, I have to wait until I have everything all set. For example, if it's a YouTube, I need to wait until I have, perfect lighting or a great camera. Use your damn phone. Whatever it is, start with what you have. That's my point. Start with what you have. It doesn't have to be perfect. And don't be afraid of fear. Just give fear a chance. Just work. Go in there. You are afraid. We are still doing it. Do or die. Conquer perfectionism. It can be good and it can also be bad. So make sure the perfectionism that you do have, there is all these things. Make sure it is working for you, not against you. My name is Esther Minor, and I'll see you on my next video on how to get things done. So once you've conquered perfectionism, I also have a video on procrastination, so you can check that out. So once you've conquered perfectionism, how do you get things done? Keep on the lookout for my next video on Get Things Done. GTD.